If you're not familiar with Cambridge and were driving down Hespeler Road, on the west side you might notice a piece of wooded land and assume that it was waiting to be developed. This is actually a conservation area, with Highway 24 right beside it. The Dumfries Conservation Area is a hidden gem, hiding in plain sight. With free admission and parking, it's a favourite for many in Cambridge. The entrance is on Dunbar Road, with many paths leading into it. There is roadside parking available. The parking lot is open May to October. The conservation area is closed at dusk. This 70-acre piece of land was once home to 2 homesteads in the early 1800s. At one point it supported a herd of Jersey cattle. In 1916 it was bought by 20-year-old Percy Richard Hilborn, along with his lifelong friend Laurie Barrett. In 1966 he bought out his share in the property, and in 1967 Hilborn donated his land to Her Majesty the Queen in right of Ontario. But the Ontario government didn't want it. There wasn't the funds to develop or maintain the 70-acre property, so instead it was transferred to the Grand River Conservation Authority. Yes, the same conservation authority that runs and maintains Shades Mills Conservation Area. The Grand River Conservation Area continued to recognize the wish of Mr. Hilborn that the property remains essentially a natural area available for general public use. At the time there was no Cambridge. The conservation area was actually on the edge of both Galt and Preston. There have been many changes done to the land though. Groff Mill Creek, named after Andrew Groff, who tapped the Spring Creek in about 1835, was straightened in 1983. The creek was lined along its bottom and sides with geotextile fabric and an interlocking open-work concrete block system. An arboretum, a botanical garden devoted to trees, was sited with approximately 964 trees planted by the horticultural societies and their partners, including about 75 tree species such as red oak and honey locust. White-tailed deer have been seen on the property, even witnessed in the open area of the Hilborn Arboretum. Also, a variety of mammal burrows and dens have been found on the property, indicating that wildlife at Dumfries Conservation Area is not just passing through, but call it home. Raccoons, squirrels, groundhogs, muskrats, and skunks. Plenty of bird life, and hawks have been known to breed within the forest. You also might be lucky enough to see an eagle. While there's no amenities in this conservation area, there are picnic benches and benches for seating. It's the trails that have people coming back to this conservation area again and again. The entrance to the park on Dunbar has a map showing the main trails, but there's numerous smaller trails that have been made as people crisscross through the conservation area. The trails are not marked, and if you're visiting here for the first time, it's best to take a photo of the trail maps before you start exploring. The large main trail loops around the conservation area, running beside the creek at one point and through the different plantations of trees. This is a loop trail that you have to start after about a 10 or 15 minute walk into the conservation area. There's another entrance though. Right behind the YMCA on Hespeler Road, at 250 Hespeler Road, there's a path that leads directly onto this loop trail. The trail leads in and out of coniferous trees, beside a creek at different points, and through brush and grassy areas. There's a section where there's a steep climb, so make sure that you're wearing the proper footwear. You would need at least an hour to walk the full path. It's a well-used trail used by hikers and joggers. Dog owners are often seen, as are bird watchers. The open fields along Dunbar Road are used by families to play soccer, frisbee, cricket, and other games. Dumfries Conservation Area is heavily used by groups. In the past, Windclimbers has organized Kite Fest in early June each year. This event attracts several hundred people, and as a result has become a very popular and well-known annual event. We're waiting to see if it will happen this year. Dumfries Conservation Area is like a surprising breath of fresh air in the middle of the city.